Hi, welcome to the video from Premier Guns. This time it's a quick discussion about our ratting guns, or if you are looking to get into our rat shooting. Short days are starting to come in now, so we're looking at kind of starting to think about rats starting to come into buildings. We have our own little ratting club here in Premier Guns, so like you'd expect, we've gone sort of a bit mad when it comes to equipment, but you don't need to. So in explanation of what we've got, some of the basic equipment you might need, and some of the pellets, and explanation of some of the scopes and everything, which I'll just talk you through. Firstly, I say this happens to be one of our member of staffs, or the boss man, we call him, Dan. This is his own Catran, so he's actually bought with his own money. So we've started to do Catran models or Air Max models now the last few months, and we've been so delighted with them. He's bought one himself, and I've bought the one behind me, and as you expect, we're sort of kitting them up a bit OTT, but ideal little packages. Dan was particularly concerned about having a lightweight package, so he's gone with the Catran model, the shorter bottle one, and he's gone for the Pard DS3550. So Dan's gone for a lighter gun, so he's just gone for Catran compact. Myself, I've gone the full sort of length Catran there. Similar sort of weight, to be fair, there's not a huge amount in it. Did make the mistake, or mistake I suppose in some ways, because we were looking for a lightweight setup, which I think for our style of rat shooting is quite appropriate. It's got to walk around and take various shots. You want a light bit of equipment. I suppose I have got this set on some bog sticks, but most of our shooting is walked around. I started off sort of ratting with the Hick Alpex. These are phenomenal scopes, incredibly clear. Work phenomenally well in dusk, which is probably the best scope available in dusk light, I think, without using IR. Downside to these is they're incredibly heavy, and what I'll do is a bit later on, I'll run through some of the weights of different equipments, because depending on the application, depending on how you want to use your chosen gun, weight can be kind of an important factor. So I decided to sort of change from this Hick Alpex to something a little bit lighter. A little bit later, we're going to the Pard model, which does make a difference. But I say we don't have to go as all out as a DS35 or a Hick Alpex. You can, and have been used for many years, is something as simple as a Pard 007. Now, we've teamed this up with a Hawk 27x32, which is a perfect little setup. It'll work down to 2 magnification, obviously, so it's ideal for ratting close range. Parallax adjustments, which is something you need when you're using a 007 on there. But a little setup like that is a fantastic entry gun. It will shoot all the rats as equal to any of the mega expensive £2,000, £3,000 guns you don't particularly need. Because ratting's typically 15 metres, 20 metres, could be a little bit further. We have got some long range shots as well, which we enjoy. But I say this will equally do the same thing. So don't feel sort of pushed into having to spend a lot of money. Another gun was new to us ourselves for Premier Guns is the Walther RM8. This one being the compact. And again, this is another very cost-effective gun. This one's got the Air Max, Hawk Air Max 27x32 on there. Again, 007 Pard. Perfect little gun for ratting. Again, we'll clean up as many rats as any of the expensive guns out there, whether it's day states or air arms. So as part of your standard equipment for most ratters is some form of sticks of some sort. Again, these happen to be the full bog grip sticks. Works great if you've got an Arca rail on your gun. Clamps directly in there. Will keep the gun, if you're standing sedentary for a period of time, it'll keep the gun fixed position, hands free, especially if you're using something with thermal perhaps. You can spot around, look for the rats, and the gun's sort of ready to go. Quick to remove, should you need to, on the for a walk around. Right, so there's a lot of discussion about pellets. Now, new to the market, I say, are these Zan pellets. Now, what's not quite unique, but it's quite new to the market, is the very fact that these Zans will work in sub 12 foot-pound guns, which most of us obviously use. So if you look and you see a nice little hollow point on here, these are working out at 10 grains, a very high BC. So obviously, even although it's a heavier pellet, the BC will mean theoretically less drop. Being a nice little hollow point should ballistically be superior to your standard domed pellet. We've got the same pellet again in 2.2. These are coming in at 20 grains. Again, these should work well in most sub 12 foot-pound guns. It's worth trying the guns. Again, different barrels, different guns will have different effects. Hades Pellets has been out for a very long time. I say it's got the little crosshatch in the top there. Essentially the same as an ordinary JSB pellets, Diablo pellets. However, it's got the little crosshatch in the top. Now, you mightn't think they make any difference, but we've seen from our own experience that whatever effect this little crosshatch is doing, it seems to hit the rats harder than your ordinary dome pellet. Probably not very scientific testing, but they certainly don't move very far when they hit in the right place with one of those. Ultimately, it's about accuracy, and if your gun just favours an ordinary dome pellet, then so be it. That's the most important thing, is shot placement. If you shoot a rat further back, it's not going to die, whatever pellet you're using, whatever power you're using. So we want the rat to be dispatched as quick as possible. Most people don't like rats, but still, regardless, we want a quick, painless death for them. Next little model up here is the H&N. That's the Barracuda Extreme. Similar to the Hades, we've had some great effects with those. Again, it's try them. All these pellets you've got to try them out for yourself as far as accuracy goes. Ballistically, I can certainly say that we've had great results with the H&Ns, and we've had some fantastic results with the Hades, and I've been using the Zan 20 grains out of my gun, and been a fantastic combination, really has. Up to what's been out for quite some time now is your FX Hybrid. Now again, this was designed as a crossover between your traditional slug and your traditional pellet. Can't quite understand how it's different. They've all got slightly different profiles to them. They are probably a tad lighter than your traditional slugs, but typically for FAC guns only, or higher power air rifles. Traditional domed pellets always works, say, but ballistically, I always think the hollow points are far superior. Something else that is new, and we haven't had an awful lot of experience of, though I have spoken to a lot of people have used them to great effect, particularly on pigeons. But these have the benefits, supposedly the benefits, of having a higher BC, of a rounded domed pellet. So they've got the point there, but they've got a hollow point there with this little bit of plastic there will break off on impact and create a big hollow there. So again, ballistically more efficient than a standard pellet, and I've had great results on that one. Haven't had direct experience myself. I'm very keen to try those, so it's something to sort of keep us posted, have a chat to us, and we let you know how we're getting on with them. But yeah, there's a very brief roundup of some of the pellets that we have used, want to use, or we sell in the shop, and really we're keen to get them out there and see how other people get on with them. Right, so those people want you to stick with the standard Diablo pellet, which totally understand. If your gun suits them, then 100% use them. What we've got here is your kind of standard weight JSB Jumbo, and that's 15.89 grains, so just under 16 grains. So again, highly effective. But to have a little extra, I suppose, knockdown power, you're looking at the Bisley Magnums, about 18 grains on those ones. So again, worth trying. Probably a little bit more drop on them, but they do hit that little bit harder. But again, worth just trying them out to see how they work in your gun. Okay, so what I'll do is I'm going to put 5 on the left-hand target. and then 5 on the cam. As already mentioned, if weight is of particular importance to your ratting rig, which it tends to be on our guns, because we've gone for a sort of light middleweight guns, most of ours, just thought we'd take some weights here of the 4 models we've got here and incremental differences in them. So quite interesting. First on the left is your PAR 007. Now we've mounted that to 27x32 Hawk scope, which we think is an ideal little ratting setup. Not an overly heavy scope, already quite lightweight scope comparison, down to 2 magnification, which can be quite handy in ratting situations, coupled with the back of the 007 on the back of it. So next to that on the right is the DS35, or maybe it's the 50 model, and it's the clean model. So it hasn't got the laser rangefinder, it hasn't got the illumination. To the right is the same DS35 50 that has got the laser rangefinder and the illuminator. And there, sitting on the scales, is the big HIC Alpex along with the IR. So interested to weigh those and see the differences. So, interestingly, with a set of element mounts, these aren't the mounts that actually come with the PARD, these are on the gun, but again, very similar to the mounts on the PARD mounts themselves. But that's coming in at 872. It's interesting, although it's a complete featured unit, you'll notice how it's comparatively really quite a lightweight option for yourself. So, again, there we go. So that's the clean model. This, again, you need to have IR for most cases, unless you have got a lot of moonlight or a lot of light around buildings. You really want an IR unit. So this IR unit I've borrowed off the HIC Alpex. A very good unit, not an overly weighty unit, very effective. And as you see, that's coming at 962, again with element mount, so a good comparison to the full DS35 50 with the laser rangefinder. Now, in this instance, obviously I'm having to include the scope, so we need the scope, but this is your PARD 007. So what I thought when I was looking to go lightweight is perhaps go for a smaller, lighter weight scope, which that scope is, very good day scope, and attach the 007 as and when I needed. But as you can see, at 928, it's still, you know, it's beyond the weight of the full featured PAR 00735, which looks quite interesting. Now to the HIC Alpex. Now, say tremendous scope, fantastic quality, great in dusk because it's probably the best scope out there, night vision scope out there. If you don't want to use IR in ordinary dusk conditions, fantastic sort of quality picture. But as you see, as a unit itself on its own, if you are looking for a lighter weight unit, it does come in at quite a hefty, over almost 13.42. Okay, well, thanks for watching. I'll say, again, it was a brief introduction to some of the ratting rigs that we have set up ourselves and for other customers. I will say and reiterate the point, it is important to identify what you need, what you want out of your setup. A lot of people are quite happy with quite a weighty static setup where they're going to sit for a period of time and quite happy to black the rat, so weight isn't an issue. If you are going to be moving around and walking through the farm buildings regularly, up, down, all over the place, then do consider weight. So hence why we've gone through some of the weights of different scopes. But I say there are many other options which we're happy to discuss with you. So feel free to pop into Premier Guns, have a chat to us. But for now, thanks for watching, and I hope to speak to you soon. Thank you.